Welcome back, wastelanders, to another episode of this channel. Now, I'm bringing you today with comprehension, as this time around I will be talking about school. As believe it or not, knowledge and education it is pretty powerful here in the wasteland. But not only that, but we all need to share our thoughts, our opinions, and the things that we all want to share with others in order to, I don't know, have a more strong societal part of things. I guess you could say that thing. So of course, you can always count on people around here in the wasteland who has the greatest of education. Yeah, I really don't think that too. But regardless, what matters is the fact that we are not so privileged as the guys from the vault, who has pretty interesting
Hello,
ways of,
Katie.
I don't know, teaching their ways out of it. But even if it is all part of propagandas or whatnot, what matters is the fact that they actually have schools of proper education rather than us. And I mean, you're a pretty big example for that. But in order to have some really critical thinking, just imagine doing your job any day of the week just by simply being a courier. And all of a sudden, you just deliver a package, and it happens to have some codes that destroy the whole country almost, just because you didn't say anything about it. Why it was like that? Because you just follow the orders and never think twice about it, like ever. And look at what it cost. But even if you are like a someone who always keep pushing with orders and the like, you should always keep in mind that if you help like someone from the enclave, I mean, it is a good deed after all, but don't be so upset if they come back and try to annihilate you back. Why? I don't know. They are just returning you the favor. That's why. So of course you need to develop that critical thinking, that coldness, well, quote unquote coldness, in order to just be around anywhere
No, todo
and
crapera.
properly
Te vas a
dealing
presentar a...
with the things that the wasteland is actually throwing at
Es
you.
mi comandante
Why
ignorante
is this
degenerado.
very important? Well, mostly because
Sigue.
you can
Nunca...
always go to places that seem like a really big no to
Sabe,
anyone
¿qué te trae?
with a brain, but actually you just
No todos
happen to
tenemos
be
razón
all
para entrar
right.
y salir
Of
libremente.
course, they are treated you badly, and not only that, but they are actually kind of like telling you to screw off. But no matter,
Todo
you are
para...
not getting crucified, right? So at the very least, that is something to hope for. And no, that wasn't luck. It was just you being you. And believe it or not, that was more than enough to see that they are not kind of animals, or at least not to that extent, if you get what I'm saying.
Leave, Jester.
And of course,
Hey,
you can
this
always
is
just
between me
be
and you.
around and be yourself and just,
Another
I
one of
don't
the
know,
foolish,
live
stupid diamonds
happily
you
ever
become
after
begging for
if you
table
like.
scraps?
Like if anyone could ever have something like
I
this
don't
here in the
beg, you
wasteland.
stuck-up
But
bull.
whatever,
Fine.
what matters is the
Go
fact that
ahead
you
and
are
pretend
still
you're
here
someone.
and you can do you
I'm
as
getting bored.
always.
Why
It
don't
really
you
doesn't
make
matter
yourself
if you
scarce?
are a clanker,
What did you
if you
say?
get my
Oh,
drift.
whatever.
But
I'm done
whatever,
talking to you.
what matters here is that you can fulfill all your things by thinking and using your brain. I don't know, pretty big, right? So of course you need to develop that thing. And but don't overthink it. I mean,
What
it
happened to you?
can become really detrimental to your own things, as it won't get you anywhere. So of course always
Tell
just
me what happened.
ask around and wonder about things, but never really just stay there. Just, I don't know, use your thoughts in order to complete all the things and then use them on your own benefit. Like just being someone empathetic with your own self. Yeah, be an empathy guy. Well,
Help
you
you.
get what I'm saying.
I
So,
have
of
a stay
course,
back.
in order to have such trait, you just need to ask around or see that maybe the person might have been saying some things that sounded like this or that, but regardless, something like this could always happen to you here in the wasteland, even if it doesn't sound like it. And yeah, I guess you could say that everything here sounds pretty boring, and it might be, but trust me, knowing when
For
to
me.
help people, or even if you never intended it to the other person to have something in return or whatever, what really matters is that you're just doing the thing, and then I don't expect anything at all, really. Why? Because nobody's actually owing you that thing. And of course, if your belly is empty, you can always use an egg. But remember that being prepared here in the wasteland not always guarantee you complete safety. Yeah, that's our environment, and that's how we like it. So of course, you need to uh, develop more your empathy traits, so this thing can become just like another thing that you're always doing here in the wasteland. And not only that, but it just becomes a lot easier once you're actually doing it. And by just simply wandering off, you can gain insane tons of experience. That is really cool. And not only that, but again,
You're
just by
an assaultron?
being asking questions, keep wondering and pondering about stuff, you can get to know a lot of the people around you. And remember that if you ask the NCR why Tandy just happens to be like that, or Caesar why he has the things that he just believes in, you will get a punch right through your head. Oh well, it will feel like it because it would take a lot of time for them to explain why Tandy just happens to be there for almost over a century, or why Kaiser really hates that thing. But regardless, you need to always keep wondering and using the books. But as the NCR might want you to believe that their ones were okay with that thing. So maybe we can count on people like the
You
Vault
should be
81
wary.
dwellers
The
who just,
Commonwealth is a
I don't
dangerous
know,
place.
perhaps well, they might not be so trustworthy as
Ma'am, what about
they
this ring here?
how can I put it? They allowed anyone to enter their bots. I mean, yeah, as you can see right here, you are you, and of course you are allowed to be around there, but there could be anyone else that comes there and, start talking to the kids. And also, uh, there's another example of this type of thing, like the think tank, who they are pretty harmless, but their creations, well, I mean, you could say that they are pretty harmless if you know where to aim. Wink, wink. So, of course, you need to consider the fact that some others will want to, take advantage of you. And not only that, but emotions will always play a really, really, really huge part on this occasion. As dealing with people will always tell you that they are either angry or whatever the type of emotions that they are portraying. What matters here is the fact that they, well, they're telling you pretty much everything by just simply talking more, well, with their voices in anger. But I just wanted to let you know about one thing, and that is that we shouldn't always get the emotions to get the best of us. Why? Mostly because being exaggerated with such thing can become so detrimental for us, as emotions will makes us pretty like uh, people who can think clearly. And not only that, it is worse if you have some empty stomach, to which is pretty much the norm here in Wasteland. But whatever, what matters is the fact that you need to keep pushing to the fact that sometimes things are not the way that they are looking up. And what I mean by this is the fact that, you need to think twice, that perhaps that person was just dealing with something at the time, or perhaps it wasn't like that. But some others will try to take advantage of such feelings and attentions, and they will just put anyone on their command. As I don't know, imagine like a general from the Minutemen, which it would really happen, that sold out their whole clan, or well, their whole faction at this time. So, I mean, it is no guarantee that some other people will have such opportunities. And you have the other side of the coin that the Legion will actually protect its citizens, or maybe here in the Good Neighbor, anarchy might sound like a pretty good idea, but at the same time, you have a lot of struggles that you might have the freedom, but just others have the same freedom as you, and sometimes here and there, some are more free than others. So just keep that in mind because critical thinking is mostly about knowing that things can happen. And even more so, if you see someone of the contrary spectrum that is around here and obviously they won't treat you correctly or really good, or well, at least they won't be greeting you at all. So of course you can always use even that thing against them, like him for example. He is now long gone because he was pretty pathetic and a loser, but someone like the master actually had like a really interesting idea of the wasteland. And even if it didn't sound at all that great to begin with, he just admitted it. That thing takes a lot from you, as admitting that your own error is pretty big and telling. And that is someone who is pretty intelligent. But even if that happens to you, you need to consider that it will lead you to paths so bad, like imagine trying to decide if a grandma should take her medicine or
So,
not.
what kind of weapons do you have?
Either choice will lead you to something like this, for example.
Except suicidal depression.
I
That
mean,
is
you
unfortunately
just
not
need to
patentable.
consider and count others the same way as you do you, as they are pretty important to you. So obviously if you have a relative or a
This
friend
engine.
or family member or whatever, they you need to take them into account. That's what makes anyone a pretty smart person. So now you know to keep your kids out of politics because that thing will kill them. And even if you can't, they will eventually do that thing. So for that reason, I will say goodbye.